Hey, it made the noise straight away this time. Sorry, to explain that, our webcam has started to be a bit temperamental, and you press record, and sometimes it just goes, nah.
And we do not know why, because we barely know what we're doing.
Yeah, but then other times it does it straight away. So, hi guys, hello.
Hello.
Today is day 87 of lockdown, and it is June 17th. I have not done my face.
I have not combed my hair. I washed it earlier.
Got a hairband in though.
Got a hairband in,
yeah.
Which is not a look that I enjoy, but it does keep my hair out of my eyes when I'm reading comic books, and that's all I ask at this stage of furlough. I haven't had a haircut in a long time, and I was kind of in like I've seen some people on Facebook, some men whose hair gets like down past the top of their ears, and they go, "Oh God, I need to get the trimmers on it." I'm not.
The trimmers.
The trimmer. I don't know. Maybe the trimmers. I don't know what they've got access to, but I mean, use the safety guard. But my hair is generally longer than some people's. It's
not far off a bob now, isn't it?
It's beyond bob at the back, isn't it?
Well, it's mullet at the back, bob at the front. I am admitting defeat, and I will cut it. But we do still have some bits of sketch that we have to finish.
I think I look a little bit Einstein-y.
Well, how do you mean? His went very much up and out.
But didn't he have kind of... Oh, yeah, I guess so. Well, who has hair that's just, like, down at the side?
Hugh Fernley Whittingstall.
Kind of Shakespeare-y. He had a very high forehead and then side thing.
Shakespearean, I can see.
Like, slept funny and then didn't brush his hair.
Well, there's worse people you could look like, I guess. Well, both of them geniuses.
Yeah.
Genii.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, no one wants... You don't want to look like someone who looked clever. Like, you want to be compared to the attractive celebrities, not the clever ones.
Right, okay. Well, just in terms of hairstyle, I think you can give yourself a break there. But yeah, it's getting out of hand, I will concede. Yeah. So is mine, but I'm not letting you anywhere near mine with the scissors, even though it desperately needs it. I would rather just wait and let a professional deal with it.
Boo.
But I can clip mine back, and nobody needs to see how bad it is.
And this is a very broad stereotype. I realize doesn't apply to everyone, but I think, like, as a woman, you've had more practice and experience of, like, dealing with hair being long, and have more stratagems for dealing with that.
Yeah. Well, you've resorted to the hairband stratagem, which is one of the first ones you go for when it's too short to clip back, but it is long enough to get all up in your grill.
I feel a little bit like a Premiership footballer, because they sometimes have long hair, and then they don't want it in their face when they're playing with the football, so they put the hairband on. And it's very cool when they do it, because they are millionaire sport athletes. But if I was to go to the shop...
Sport athletes.
If I was to go to the shop like this, I would feel silly.
Oh, Babs, you should just live your best life and don't be worrying on haters.
Well, I'd have shorter hair in my best life.
We'd all be doing things differently if we were getting our way about it. Look at right. I apologise. Also, by the way, it's been a while since I've done one sans makeup, and I think that's because vanity has kicked in, and this is actually quite a high HD camera, and every time I've looked at myself without makeup, I've immediately gone, no, I'm going to put a face on. But it is already 11:45, and I've had a few very busy days, and I'm too tired to bother. So you're just going to have me spotty and sunburned. So I'm living my best life. Screw you, the haters. But yes, I've had quite, for me, a busy day. Because I sort of had to actually set an alarm, which I mainly ignored for a while, but then I did get up and had to sort of get up and go straight out, and, well, not straight out even. Considering how, like, fibro-y my last few days have been, just having to be anywhere today was an achievement. But yeah, I'd put off seeing my niece yesterday.
As long as she possibly could.
No, I love her. She's brilliant. But yesterday I was a little bit too sore, but also a bit hungover. So I was just like, do you know what? I'm not going to be able to play, and this will be bad. I'll just put it off to today. So I did it today, but I'd forgotten when I made that plan that we'd already agreed to some plans that kicked off at 5 p.m. today, so I needed to be back in time for that.
For most people, doing one thing before 5 p.m. and another thing after would be fine, but we are not most people.
No, well, especially not, like, 3 days after canoeing all day, like I'm screwed. So I will play my doctor's note on that one, but still very sore, and obviously can't jump in the car and get a lift places, have to walk there, have to then like be active when I am there, and it was just like, yeah, that's hard. So I'm not gonna make apologies for that. It sounds very lazy, but you do it with fibro. Let's come at me, bro. So today we did that, and then we came back. But the thing we were doing at 5 was very exciting, and I was very glad to be doing it. But it did involve using the old brain cells that have been untaxed for quite a while. So yes, we did some online escape room games. We did 2. There were 3 on offer. We were planning on doing 3, and then sort of chatter got in the way, and the last one we decided to put off to another day. But some friends of ours that we mentioned that we know some other people who are sort of in the escape room world. They have in lockdown, Steph doesn't actually work for them, but the escape game Swansea have adapted some of the escape room puzzles and stories in that you can play them online in a booked game with a DM.
And you don't even have to go to Swansea.
Yeah, you don't have to go to Swansea. Sorry, GM. Sorry, I'm going back into my D&D games there.
Well, it did have a bit of that kind of vibe to it, didn't it?
It did have, yes, but it wasn't. There's no rolling. There's no role play really in it. So
I don't mean that to put anyone off, because some people feel a bit intimidated, I think, by the idea of Dungeons and Dragons.
But yeah, it's essentially
it's more that there's someone who leads you through it and gives you little story elements and kind of.
You can see what's in the room. Sort of, you're looking down on it from above, and then the sort of games master will talk you through what you can see, and what the story is.
Eleanor is very witty as well.
She is. She's brilliant at it. So we did 2 of those. Both I really loved. I think the first one, it took us a while to get into what we were doing, and then once we sort of got, okay, this is how specific you need to be about what you're doing. You can't just say, I look through the room. You have to be sort of quite like, okay, what's behind that? Is there anything on top of that? Blah blah blah. But it was brilliant. The first one was sort of a piratey themed sunken treasure, I think it was called, and the second one we did was called The Heist, which was an art heist. The first one, I think it took us a little while to warm up, and then we did quite well throughout for the second one. The second one, we did really well throughout, and then the very last thing we needed to do took us ages. But I really thoroughly enjoyed both, and actually it's a different beast to playing an actual in the room escape room, because you have to sort of do things one at a time, whereas obviously if you guys are in a room with a group of friends, you could all sort of explore the room together and go, I found something, kind of thing, whereas this, you need to be a bit more methodical, and obviously time constraints come into play there. So I think they have changed the puzzles, so actually even if you've played the actual games, there are differences if enough time has elapsed since you've done them. I haven't actually played those 2 games of theirs, but was really fun. I really enjoyed it. I thought it felt like doing an escape room. You lose out on some things, obviously you lose out on the immersion, but there are things that were very enjoyable about it. Like I did quite enjoy the sort of the fact that we were both doing everything as a team, whereas if you are doing an escape room, particularly if there's more than 2 of you, you can sort of separate, and depends on the escape room, because some escape rooms will be quite linear, and you have to do one puzzle which will lead to the next, which will lead to the next, and others might be that you've got lots of different things to do, and
you can break off into little
groups. Those I actually find a little more frustrating as a player, because you won't necessarily know how things were done, and I want to know how everything was done. I want to know, like, how did you get in there? How did we do? But also, it can be a bit confusing, because you can not realise that there is something that has been completed with that. Like, that's already been used. You don't know because somebody else was using it to complete a different puzzle. So
it can be nice though if you've got a big team. It can be nice because, if you've got 6 people all trying to gather around the same clue, that can be a bit.
Yeah, I think like I think like it's nice if there's enough in the room for everybody to be looking at something and exploring something, but not so much that there's lots of different puzzles that you can all separate and do, and then you come back together and you wouldn't be able to really say at the end of it how did we get into that, or how did we open that. So I like either there to be I don't like the actual sort of stories to go from A to B to C to D, I like it if you sort of open something and you get something, but you don't need to use it till later. And I also like having to double back on yourself and go back to something that you forgot about from earlier. I don't like it to be too linear, but I do essentially like there is one thing you're looking at doing next, but you're just going to have to look at everything you've got in order to work out how to do it.
I'll tell you the one thing I missed from like a physical escape room. And obviously, like, it's nice, you know, the physical escape room, we also have like physical props that you can interact with, and sometimes things move, and there's sort of almost sort of special effects, and that's quite, you know, and it's more immersive obviously to be there, as opposed to this was almost like a video game version in a way. But
yeah, it felt kind of like doing a point and click, but I like point and click, so that's lovely. But yeah,
and
it felt
with a
sort
real
of like
person kind of guiding you through and making it funnier and
yes.
But the thing I really missed is like when you're doing an escape room, you've got a bunch of puzzles, and occasionally you will get stuck, and that's going to be a little bit frustrating, and you've got almost, because of that frustration, you've almost got like a sort of nervous energy, and I miss being able to sort of aimlessly pace and just sort of pick up things I've already looked at and check underneath them. And
I agree on that, because that sounds a bit mad, but actually what I was doing, because we were doing it, like, you can share the screen, so you can see the room, and then you can inspect items close up, which is what makes it feel kind of like an old, like, Monkey Island puzzle almost. Like, okay, I want to look closer at that, so it would be like, click on that, okay, have a look at it. But yeah, there is an element of, if I was in an actual escape room and I'm a bit stuck, I do then sort of go, right, okay, and then I'll like take things I've used and be like, okay, I've used that, but you can't do that obviously when you're looking at it online. So I was writing mad notes to myself that wouldn't make any sense to anyone, but I'm like, okay, I've done that, and starting and treating the room in a very different way than I would if I was there. Because yeah, like I love that. If you've never done an escape room, obviously ideally book mine when we're allowed, but I would highly recommend doing them. They are great fun. But yeah, it's a very interesting sort of insight into your problem solving skills, because it's immersive, it's sort of high pressure, it is fun, sometimes they're a bit scary, and yeah, our first date was an escape room, which I like, you joke about that, like, because it's sort of like it was tax deductible, but I kind of think it's a great thing to do on a date, particularly if it's quite early on and you're just getting to know each other. Because like ours was a first date, we'd obviously been talking, because it's the 20s. It was the 90s.
The roaring 20s.
Yeah, it was 2019. We met on a dating app, Hinge. I would highly recommend it. Met the love of my life. Met the love of my life. But yes, so we'd been talking for, look how pleased. We'd been talking for a bit on there before we met, but then we eventually met. And I think I suggested it. You had done one before, so it wasn't an entirely new concept to you. And obviously you knew people who worked in them and things. But it's great because you have a shared experience that you work at together, so that kind of sort of breaks the ice quite well.
You can kind of bond over that.
Yeah, you've got a story to tell afterwards. You feel like you've sort of shared an experience, and you are working together for a common goal. Also, it will sort of help you quite quickly see if you work well together. Because that wouldn't necessarily be that you both have to be particularly good at it. It could actually be that you're both terrible at it, but you have fun while you're at it, and that's kind of quite a nice experience. You don't have to be good at it to get something out of it.
Actually could throw up some kind of good red flags as well. Like if someone starts getting really short-tempered or shirty,
or if somebody's sort of acting a bit, because I've seen this a few times where somebody expects that they're going to be great at it and then isn't, and then there's two ways you can go with that. You can sort of go in and be like, oh, it's going to be easy, mate, and then you can find that it's not and sort of make a joke of it and be like, oh, well, I over-egged the pudding on this one, didn't I? And sort of like make light of it. Or you can get really frustrated and angry, and that for me would be a red flag. But also, just even if nobody's doing it right or wrong, but you could discover that there are incompatibility things there, because maybe the one of you likes to sort of be really methodical and the other person likes to just go with it and try different things, and you realise it just sort of irks you, makes you angry, makes you irritated, like that's probably quite a good sign to get that out of the way. And you'll be like, okay, well, he might be a nice guy and we might like some of the same hobbies, but we don't actually work well together at a common goal. Obviously, I wouldn't say like it's a litmus test that you should just judge the whole thing by, because obviously then maybe go for a coffee afterwards and see how you'd like deal with it. But I think
or
like
a pint.
Or a pint. We went for drinks.
Well, we were talking about it earlier, weren't we? And you were sort of saying, because obviously you've worked in escape rooms and things, and you were asking me, was I nervous to kind of do an escape room, and maybe I wouldn't be very good at it, and I thought
I didn't say would you be nervous because you maybe wouldn't be good at it.
Well,
he'd done one which he'd done badly at, which I didn't know when I like.
And so you asked would I be sort of nervous, and I'm much less nervous of being bad at an escape room than I am of an awkward silence.
Right.
You know, and just the idea of going on a date, and I haven't been on many kind of dates. Like I've been, a lot of my relationships in the past, I've met people through friends or through work.
Yeah.
And you kind of gradually get to know each other, and by the time you actually go on a date, you already kind of...
Yeah, you already know each other, you're comfortable with each other to an extent.
You want it to head in the right direction, and so I haven't been on an awful lot of kind of just going on a date with someone that I don't really know. I did a couple before Ellie, but the idea of just sitting opposite someone and having to make small talk and just not feeling like, just the idea that keep the conversation going, that sort of is not something that I
I think
thrive on.
I agree. I have been on my share of dates. And so many of them, like, instantly, like pretty instantly, like, this is just us both being polite until it's okay to leave. Oh God, I've had some nightmares, and I've had a lot of mediocre ones.
Well, the other thing.
Yeah, and it's so like with internet dating, you might spend weeks talking to someone. And then you go on a date, and then you're like, God, like, there's no chemistry whatsoever. Like, this was a whole waste of time. But then the flip side of that is you talk to them and very quickly agree to go on a date, and then you're like, oh, well, this is a waste of time because we didn't know. So it's, so I think... It's just, it's difficult to get, like, to know what the right way to go about it is.
When I was trying to date...
Waste of makeup, quite a lot of them.
When I was trying to date, I had this theory that I bandied about a lot, and I think this is a theory that's born out of not liking dating and not really wanting to do it.
Right.
But just wanting the thing that would come of dating.
Yeah. I'm the same. I don't enjoy some people love dating. I hate it.
But I had this kind of this theory that I found that basically the problem with dating is the skills that you need to be good at dating are broadly different skills that you need to be good in a relationship.
Yeah, I agree.
Because in dating, what you need is to be kind of charming and confident and kind of relaxed around strangers. Those are all really useful skills. But, you could be charming and confident but just be a terrible person.
Yeah, inconsiderate and selfish.
And confident with no real justification for that confidence. Confidence is a good thing up to a point, but and being good with strangers isn't going to help you have 30, 40, 50 years with someone. No, because they're going to stop being a stranger. You're going to get to know them quite well.
Yeah, you've got to be good with people you are friends with. Be good with people you are close with.
Yeah,
be good with people that you. Yeah, it's.
So you could be really impressive on a date and just be terrible in a relationship.
Yeah.
But actually, I think the escape room thing is kind of a better gauge because you do, maybe you have to demonstrate communication skills or patience or a bit of enthusiasm for a thing.
Yeah, well, I think that would be like you're the only person that I've ever done escape room dates with. I'm just checking I'm not lying on that. No, that is true. I think it was a great thing for us to do because we didn't go like just meet at the escape room and go straight in because I thought that would be a bit much. So I think we met, but we literally met an hour before the escape. So we booked an escape room. I think it was about 6 we met at 6 and we had the escape room booked for 7. It was something like that. So we met for an hour just around the corner from the escape room in like a coffee shop. had a cup of coffee and a bit of a chat, and then went and played the escape room. So we had the like small talk bit just to sort of, you know, break the ice, and then we did the escape room together. We did not get out, it is important to mention. We did fairly well.
Oh no, yeah,
we were on the last thing, but it was a room. Doing an escape room as a 2, I wouldn't actually generally recommend it. Ideal for dating, obviously, but in terms of actually if you want to be really successful in an escape room, they're usually designed to be done by up to sort of 5 or 6 people, some of them more, and I think quite often just having a few extra sets of eyes and hands will help you.
Finishing and winning and escaping is really important to you, then yeah.
Double date it.
There was one puzzle though in that escape room.
Yeah.
That I
know the one you mean. We better not say what it is, but
no, I won't describe the puzzle. But it was too difficult. I think it was a puzzle that if that puzzle on its own was like a game on my phone, I could have spent days just figuring out that
honestly, I think there was probably some just vital bit of logic that we couldn't quite realize how to do it, but it was a logic puzzle, and it was sort of a turning lights on and off in a certain order thing, but like oh my god, and we lost ages on, and I don't think we would have ever got that in the time. They eventually had to give us the first few things that you had to do.
I think if we had, I think we would have got out if not for that puzzle.
Yeah, I think so.
I believe that. But it's hard if you're designing an escape room. I think you have to gauge the difficulty of different puzzles and what people will be able to do. It's not an easy thing to do. I've never designed one, but I know you have.
Well, basically, designing one, a huge part of actually making it work is the testing of what people actually do. I don't think any escape room has ever gone to market 100% finished, because you'd have to do so many tests on an escape room to get a reasonable idea for what random crazy shit people do when they get in there, because you obviously know what they're supposed to do. What you can't possibly know is what mad shit people will think you might have to do until you see them do it.
We've heard a story about someone doing a wee in a pretend toilet in an escape room. Yep,
that's why you don't let drunk people into escape rooms.
Probably don't put pretend toilets in the escape rooms just to be safe.
To be fair, it was one that was sort of based around the theme of the film Saw, which is set in a bathroom, and the toilet was made to look very much not like a working toilet. But you know, drunk men, and I don't want to. Basically, I'm sure there are some awful drunk women out there who've probably done similar bad things. But you know, when somebody's pissed in a prop toilet, you know that's a man. You know that's a man that's done that, because they're in a room with their mates and they can turn and face the wall. A woman will not have like stood there and gone, "Hey guys, see what's going to be funny." Like that's like, also you're on camera, you're on CCTV. Like the level of just what an absolute dick you have to be to behave that way. But yes, people do mad things, and like the thing that's lovely about watching escape rooms is you see absolutely all ends of the spectrum of what people do when they are having what should be fun. So you're not seeing people in like the worst in their life, you're not seeing them at the bad days, but you are seeing how people just interact with each other and how they handle pressure. And if you like people watching, it is the best job in the world, because you're not just watching people just go about their business, you're watching how people handle not understanding something, or handle confusion and frustration, and also like the banter. Like when you get a good group in that are funny people who are bright and have good chemistry with each other, watching them have a good time and like take the mick out of each other a little bit and really get into it is an absolute joy. Watching like 6 accountants on a team building exercise that they did not want to go on at like 11 a.m. on a Tuesday morning, that's not so much fun. The people like, because actually also they'll usually be in any group. Team builds are probably my least fun one to do, because they're usually the most reluctant players to be there. Usually though, even the most reluctant players, like the first 20 minutes they're just acting like they don't care, and then time starts to tick away, and then the pressure starts to build, and suddenly you notice people walking with a little bit of pace, and people starting to have a little bit of panic in their voices, and then I'm like, oh, gotcha, right. But yeah, it's a bit frustrating when it takes a while before people sort of get into the spirit of it. But even the most reluctant players, you can win over most of them, because there's a sense of shared purpose. It's a great bonding exercise. I think it's a great test of, because even if, like, it wouldn't be that, like, so back on the date thing, like, it wouldn't necessarily be that, oh, this person's a bad person, or this person's like too competitive or not competitive. It's just a good test of compatibility.
Yeah.
Like, do you have fun together when you're trying to do something together?
Well,
so if actually some of the best dates I've seen a bit like, oh god, there was a date that actually wasn't that long before lockdown, and it was these two guys. They were beautiful young people in their early 20s, and they were both gorgeous specimens of humanity. They weren't very good at escape rooms, it turns out, but they were on their second date, and they were clearly really into each other, and it was adorable. It was absolutely, I was rooting for them. I had to give them a lot of help, and they did not escape, and they weren't that close. But they were laughing so heartily at every, like, stupid thing that, like, because, and you know, like, they didn't get out. They had a great time, and my heart was warmed. I was like, oh, you guys. Well, if you get married, you have to invite me. You're so cute.
I did an escape room with your friend Marple.
Yes, you did my escape room with my friend Marple.
I did. I know you were watching.
I was. Check that out for pressure.
And like, I like your friend Marple. But
she is excellent.
I think if that had been a date, I wouldn't have come out of it feeling so compatible as I had been with you. I think we had different approaches to the escape room.
Yeah, you did better at it. Well, it's hard to compare because obviously they were different rooms, but you were better at escape rooms when you did them with me than when you did them with Marple. You guys were doing really well until the last few minutes, and then the wheels fell off. I don't know. You were just not seeing things that were right in front of you.
And like I say, I like Marple as a friend, lovely. But if that had been a date, I wouldn't have wanted to pursue things further necessarily.
Well, you weren't compatible, but it would have been awful if I'd been watching you having the best date ever.
No, that'd be super awkward. Well, imagine that
if you just really hit it off, and I'm like, well, I made this happen. Yeah, I'll just let myself out, shall I?
I know. I've only just met this girl Ellie, but me and her friend have really clicked in her escape room while she's watching.
While she's running the game.
Oh, that would have been super awkward.
I guess that's probably the plot of a terrible rom-com. But worse things like that, it's conceivable. I'm glad it didn't happen though. In an alternate reality, that's happened.
There's a reality somewhere.
You've just proposed to Marple in an alternate reality, and she's just said yes.
There's a terrible reality somewhere where I fall in love with Marple, but it's too awkward to do anything, so I just stay with you and we get engaged. Because I feel too awkward to address the fact that you've introduced me.
I think you probably could have not asked me. I know, but you could have not asked me to marry me, marry you just because you fancy my mate. Like you could have just politely dated me a few times and then just let it.
Oh, I don't know where to end this.
I guess that the theory is, isn't it, with alternate realities that every possibility acts out. So. In one of them, you own an escape room, and I'm dating you, but I met Marple there, and now we're married.
In one of them, the theme tune to The Cosby Show was Too Drunk to Fuck by the Dead Kennedys.
In an escape room?
No, in one alternative reality.
Yeah. Would have been quite a good...
And at the time, people had gone, this is weird, because it's quite a cuddly family sitcom, and that's quite a sweary song. It's weird that is the theme tune to that, but then years later the cultural commentators of that universe would be like, weirdly prescient, weirdly telling.
Well, that was a dark place to take it. Cheers for that. Although actually, alternate realities, I guess some of them aren't as bright and sunny as the one we're living in right now.
If any, some of them are worse. Can you imagine?
Have you read that there's a theory going around that when they turned on the Large Hadron Collider, it did cause a rip in the time-space continuum, and the world has actually ended, and we're now just in the nether regions of just reality and time and space, like, because it's all just gone wrong, which, you know, is as plausible as others, other theories. Yeah, because was it 2016 when they turned that on? Because it was 2016 where everything started to go wrong.
I am not
no,
up on my Hadron Collider knowledge.
No, I can't say it was 2016 when everything started to go wrong, but it seemed like it really picked up pace in 2016, didn't it? Like all the celebrity deaths, Brexit referendums, and all sorts of shit, and then but weird like crazy ass like natural disasters have been going mad since then, and just someone's messed with something like. For a little while, I think I used to like write a blog, and I remember one of the one of the entries, I just sort of was like, I sometimes feel like I'm in the Truman Show, and they are doing like a social experiment to just see at which point I will be in it, and I will say this is just not believable. I just don't think this is plausible anymore.
That's weird, actually, because I sometimes feel like you're in the Truman Show and I'm not allowed to tell you.
That's weird and unnerving. You'd have to tell me.
Doesn't it? No.
You'd have to tell me.
Why would I have to tell you?
Because you love me.
But Truman's wife doesn't tell him.
I know, but she doesn't love him.
What? Well, why is she married to him?
Because she's being paid. You've seen the show.
Gone right off her.
Yeah, she's a bit of a cow.
Sounds like a wrong one.
We didn't talk about like any of the stuff that we planned on talking about.
No, well, we mostly talked about escape rooms and dating, didn't we?
Yeah. But do you know what? All right.
That's all right.
That list will last till tomorrow.
I do want to quickly bring up the the letters from lockdown. Thing that I mentioned yesterday.
Yes, I desperately tried to look for a link to it yesterday, and I did not include it because I could not find it.
So I managed to find one, so I'm going to include it in the blurb underneath this, along with the link to the Swansea escape game. But I wanted to bring it up again because if we just put the link in the blurb, it will seem a bit out of nowhere if people didn't watch yesterday's. So it's a thing where you can write letters to yourself from lockdown. You send it to this company. It's a non-profit, but you send it to this organisation, I guess, rather than a company, and they will send that letter back to you in like a year or 5 years or 10 years, depending on what you choose. So you can write about everything you're feeling going through a lockdown, and send it away, and they will send it back to you.
Like a postal time capsule kind of vibe.
So.
But a message to yourself. Could you actually choose to send a message to someone else through it?
I don't know. I feel like that would go against the terms.
Well, I just wonder if perhaps
you could like send someone like an angry.
Well, I was thinking more in terms of perhaps if you were a parent, you could send a message to your child who is maybe like 1 or 2 now, and that could be like a nice thing. But like,
I suppose
how do they know where you'll live?
Yeah, I don't know how they stop you from just like going, I'm going to send some future abuse.
I guess the fact that you could just send it now. Like, it's like, why are you going to do it through this weird, I'm going to send you some abuse. So I guess somebody with some terrible terminal illness is going to go, no, I really hate that guy. I'm going to send him some stuff 1 year from now, 5 years from now, and 10 years from now, after I'm dead.
Yeah, he's going to get abuse from the past, from his dead enemies. He's going to...
Like, that's a level of vindictiveness that I can respect.
And he's going to think he's won because I died.
But I'm going to get the last word.
Yeah, he won't be able to avenge these letters because I'll already be dead.
Yeah, it's a level of petty that I could commit to. Like, I think it could be abuse.
So
we'd
those
have
are
to
your
check
options.
the terms
Send yourself
and conditions.
a nice letter, or if you're dying, send letters to your enemies.
Yeah, or your friends.
Hope
like,
it
could be quite a nice thing to send. Like, if you're not going to be here, it could be a nice thing to send to people who you left behind.
I guess so.
That could be a nice service that they offer people in general, not just lockdown times, of just like letters from the past.
Is one of those ideas that sprung up in lockdown, but might continue afterwards.
I think there could be a sort of market for that. Yeah. All right. Well, on that thoughtful note, we will see you guys. All right, you're right there. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We might talk about some of the stuff that was on our list. I will definitely have makeup on. Because having looked at my face doing this for long enough, I go, oh, yeah, that's why I got vain about that.
You're pretty.
Oh, bless you. I'm a shiny, spotty, fat lady.
You're
but
not.
it's fine. I've made my peace with it. I'm okay with it. But I'm a shiny, spotty, sunburnt, fat lady right now.
I've put on a lot of weight. Anyway.
So we will see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, like and subscribe. There's no shame in it.